Imagine effortlessly creating nutrient-rich humus for your garden, turning what we usually call waste into a powerful soil amendment in record time. This isn't just about leaves, it's about optimizing your composting efforts to create thriving soil that will give your plants the ultimate boost they deserve. Today, we're diving deep into the microscopic world to uncover why certain leaves decompose dramatically faster than others, revealing the surprising truth behind efficient organic matter breakdown. The composting conundrum. Why do some leaves lag behind? Let's explore what's really going on when you see leaves in various stages of decomposition in your compost bin. Have you ever wondered why some leaves in your compost pile practically vanish overnight, while others seem to stick around forever like unwelcome guests? You rake up a beautiful mix of autumn leaves, add them to your compost bin with high hopes, only to find months later that some have transformed into rich, crumbly humus, while others look virtually unchanged. This isn't magic or random chance, it's pure science, and understanding it is the key to supercharging your soil creation process. The mystery lies in the fundamental differences between leaf types and how they interact with the countless microorganisms that drive decomposition. Some leaves are like fast food for these microscopic workers, while others present a tough, chewy challenge that takes significantly more time and energy to break down. By unlocking the secrets of faster decomposition, you'll create richer garden beds while saving precious time and effort in your gardening journey. Step into the invisible world beneath your feet, where billions of microscopic heroes work tirelessly to transform your garden waste into liquid gold. Bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes, and countless other microorganisms form a complex ecosystem within your compost pile, each species playing a crucial role in the decomposition symphony. These tiny workers are incredibly selective about their food sources and, honestly, understanding their preferences is the first step toward composting mastery. So, think of your compost pile as, well, a bustling restaurant kitchen where different microbes have distinctly different tastes. Some bacteria, really prefer soft, nitrogen-rich materials that break down easily, while certain fungi actually specialize in tackling those tougher, more complex organic compounds. The fungi are particularly important here because they produce these powerful enzymes that are totally capable of breaking down cellulose and even the stubborn lignin that's found in woody materials. When you provide the right mix of ingredients, these microorganisms multiply rapidly, creating a sort of feeding frenzy that, honestly, accelerates decomposition exponentially. So, the secret to their efficiency actually lies in the carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of your materials. Think of this ratio as a kind of nutritional balance sheet for microbes. If you have too much carbon without enough nitrogen, they slow down dramatically because there just isn't enough protein for growth. On the other hand, too much nitrogen can create anaerobic conditions, and, well, some pretty unpleasant odors. The real magic, honestly, happens when you achieve that perfect balance, usually around 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. This creates an environment where microorganisms can thrive and multiply at, just incredible speeds. Leaf chemistry is really like the secret speed dial for decomposition. Different types of leaves break down at different rates, and their chemical makeup plays a huge role in just how fast or slow that process goes. So, not all leaves are created equal, and honestly, their chemical composition tells the fascinating story of why some decompose rapidly while others resist breakdown with remarkable tenacity. The key players in this chemical drama are cellulose, lignin, and various other complex compounds that make up the structural framework of leaves. Understanding these components, well, it actually gives you incredible power over your composting timeline. Cellulose, which is the primary structural component of plant cell walls, is relatively easy for microorganisms to digest. Leaves with high cellulose content and thin cell walls, like maple, birch, and most annual plants, practically melt away in your compost pile. So, these leaves have evolved to be temporary structures designed to photosynthesize efficiently for one growing season before falling and returning their nutrients to the soil. Their chemical makeup really reflects this temporary nature, making them just ideal fast-track composting materials. Lignin, however, is an entirely different beast. This complex polymer acts like nature's plastic, providing structural strength and protection to woody plants and thick-leaved species. Oak leaves, magnolia leaves, and evergreen needles contain high levels of lignin, which creates a protective barrier that microorganisms struggle to penetrate. Lignin essentially acts as a natural preservative, explaining why these materials can persist in your compost pile for months or even years. The waxy coatings on some leaves, like those of rhododendrons or holly, add another layer of protection that further slows decomposition. The thickness and texture of leaves also play crucial roles in decomposition speed. Thin, delicate leaves like those from vegetables and herbs offer maximum surface area for microbial attack, while thick, leathery leaves present a smaller surface area relative to their volume. This is why experienced gardeners know that a single large magnolia leaf might take longer to decompose than an entire bag of lettuce scraps. So let's talk about three key players in the composting process: temperature, moisture, and aeration. Each of these factors honestly acts as a catalyst, speeding up or slowing down how your compost pile breaks down. Even the most decomposition-friendly leaves won't break down efficiently without proper environmental conditions. Your compost pile's temperature, moisture level, and oxygen availability act as powerful accelerators or sometimes devastating inhibitors of the decomposition process. Understanding and controlling these factors, well, it really transforms you from a passive observer to an active conductor of the composting orchestra. Temperature serves as the metabolic throttle for your microbial workforce. Most decomposer organisms operate optimally between 130 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit, a range that creates the perfect balance between rapid microbial activity and pathogen destruction. At these temperatures, enzymatic reactions proceed at maximum efficiency, and the entire decomposition process can accelerate by a factor of 10 or more compared to cooler conditions. This is why properly managed compost piles generate their own heat through microbial respiration, creating a self-sustaining system that processes materials at remarkable speed. Moisture content requires careful attention because it directly affects oxygen availability and microbial activity. Your compost pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist enough to support microbial life, but not so wet that it excludes air. Too little moisture, and microorganisms essentially go dormant, just waiting for better conditions. But, too much moisture creates anaerobic conditions where different types of bacteria take over, producing methane, hydrogen sulfide, and other compounds that smell terrible and honestly slow down the decomposition process significantly. Aeration might be the most critical factor that home composters overlook. Aerobic bacteria and fungi, the real powerhouses of rapid decomposition, require oxygen to function efficiently. Without adequate air circulation, your compost pile shifts to anaerobic decomposition, which, proceeds at a fraction of the speed and often produces those pretty unpleasant odors. This is why turning your compost regularly and ensuring proper structure with coarse materials creates dramatic improvements in decomposition speed. Each time you turn your pile, you're essentially supercharging the microbial engines that power the transformation process. So, let's talk about optimizing your heap with some smart strategies for creating super soil. Armed with scientific understanding, you can now implement targeted strategies that will revolutionize your composting results. The key is to work with nature's processes rather than against them. creating conditions that allow the natural decomposition machinery to operate at peak efficiency. This means becoming strategic about which materials you combine, how you prepare them, and how you maintain your pile throughout the process. Start by mixing leaf types strategically to create the ideal carbon-to-nitrogen ratio. Combine high lignin leaves like oak and maple with nitrogen-rich materials such as fresh grass clippings, vegetable scraps, or well-aged manure. The nitrogen provides the protein building blocks that microorganisms need for rapid reproduction, while the varied carbon sources ensure sustained activity throughout the decomposition process. Think of this as creating a balanced diet for your microbial workforce. Variety and proper nutrition lead to exponential population growth and increased processing capacity. Shredding or chopping your leaves before adding them to the pile represents one of the most powerful acceleration techniques available to home gardeners. When you increase the surface area of organic materials, you dramatically expand the points of entry for microorganisms. A whole leaf might take months to decompose as bacteria and fungi slowly work their way through the tough outer layer, but that same leaf shredded into small pieces can disappear in weeks as microbes attack from countless entry points simultaneously. A simple leaf shredder, a mulching mower, or even just running over leaves with your lawnmower can actually reduce decomposition time by 50% or more. Layering your materials thoughtfully, it creates these microenvironments within your pile that really optimize conditions for different types of microorganisms. So, you want to alternate layers of shredded leaves with nitrogen-rich materials, making sure each layer is no more than 4 to 6 inches thick. This technique, it prevents matting and helps maintain air circulation, while also ensuring an even distribution of nutrients throughout the pile. And by adding occasional thin layers of finished compost or quality garden soil, you introduce beneficial microorganisms that can actually jumpstart the decomposition process in your new materials. The magic truly happens when you commit to regular maintenance of your compost pile. Turning the pile every 2 to 3 weeks ensures consistent aeration, redistributes moisture, and brings partially decomposed materials from the edges into the active center where temperatures are highest. During dry periods, lightly water your pile to maintain optimal moisture levels, and during wet seasons, add dry carbon materials to prevent anaerobic conditions from developing. By applying these science-based strategies, you're not just composting. You're orchestrating a biological symphony that transforms garden waste into the rich, living soil amendment that will make your plants absolutely thrive. The difference in your garden's performance will be obvious within a single growing season, as your plants respond to the superior nutrition and improved soil structure that only quality humus can provide. Remember to subscribe to Smart Garden for more evidence-based gardening insights, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who want to unlock the secrets of superior soil creation. Your plants and your gardening friends will thank you for it.